Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 22nd of April. Well, Friday we dipped down below to the 0%, came off that low. Still strong MBI white, but we can see that the beginnings of the crossover of magenta over yellow, that should be enough to help hold price in line as long as you continue to have short-term buyers on the DOC here with the steel rising. Any fade there and the zero becomes very precarious because it won't hold if you move down towards it. And you can see that from a shakeout standpoint. Below the yellow, continuation of the short, extreme still below the red line. So pretty even distribution, and we're seeing a pre-market move. So you could get a move back up to the 23%, but it's unlikely that you've got too much that's going to go past there. Of course, we'll see it intraday if there's any relative changes, but of course, any downturn, there's always upshifts in it. What's more interesting is the NASDAQ having filled the last positive extreme there. So from that standpoint, NASDAQ has already done what it needs to do as far as filling those upper moves. The furthest one going back would be all the way right to here, which is the 16.5, and that would be equivalent to the S&P reaching its target most likely. But it's likely to be a little more uneven now that you've had this significant a move, because again, you're going to have a whole new series of option plays for the week, and you're going to have to move that gamma back and forth again. From a treasury standpoint, we're at the higher side here. It's just a move into treasuries. Again, it's problematic as long as oil's not taking an additional spike. You can get away with it. If oil continues to move back up, I think that's going to be problematic from a inflationary standpoint. We're already going to see those numbers come through. But oil's filled back, most of this move all the way that really caused a shock. But that shock wave is going to be reflected in prices. It's just a matter of time before you start to see that. And again, that's going to be an impossibility for the Fed because you're going to continue to see that rising CPI numbers, and not just in a stable. It'd be one thing if you were maintaining your rate of inflation, but you're not maintaining the rate, you're increasing the rate, and it's already been significant. So there's not going to be any reduction in pricing for anyone, and that's going to continue to suck from the economy and also prevent them from lowering rates. And again, you see, the interesting things from Congress. Somehow they're able to approve, major war funding, but none of the domestic needs, border security and other things like that. It's interesting how that machine works, isn't it? Diverse party things, but they're all unified, for war. Gold, a little bit of a pullback from its original move. And of course, that's going to be dependent now on oil. There's going to be some fill back in between this because this had quite a run unopposed and obviously under positive extremes. So to see that fade back and fill some of it would be more likely a healthy situation, but it's not going to change the fact that gold's still going to be a strong performer. Bitcoin halving is going to be an interesting one too. Of course, everyone, we got to down to the 50% mark there, but magenta took over white, so that's enough to give it the strength that it needs to propel. And of course, it's somewhat market dependent because it's going to be hard to see it moving if there's a continued drawdown. But we could be at the end of that cycle for now. We may move sideways until there's some clarity in direction in that. From an ETH standpoint, you can see a similar situation, but slightly below the 50%, but the exact same configuration from a reading standpoint. From a 50K standpoint, it was fairly clean. We had a little pop up right around the 50%. Magenta clearly stayed above, but then that began to change right here at the 50% when the MBI white took the lead, and that was the signal from a short move. It only came down to the 23% from that MBI white spike. So again, another fade with MBI white already where it's at would be problematic. And again, you got to break out past this 50-55 range here just to clear the previous highs. Positive shakeout. So from that standpoint, bulls have done what they need to do to sort of stave off the difficulties at this particular stage, pre-market, of course, but it should continue to follow through, barring any strange occurrences. Here you can see post-market European session's been solid, everything good. If we go back to Friday's action, you can see that we're just getting back towards that little peak maneuver. It started early in the morning, faded. It was fairly clean once it came up. White took the lead on there. Magenta dipped below, and we ended up moving back towards the 0% as MBI White led there. So it's all pretty straightforward from that standpoint. I don't think we're seeing anything we would consider surprising in any way, shape, or form. So all in all, good stuff. We'll continue to follow the action. As always, though, anything relevant, I'll put on the Skype chat. Have a good one. Trade well.